Alright, hi everybody, it's Bonkai922. Bleach. Later on tonight, if I get into this Bleach chapter, later on tonight, I'm going to do the live stream. Probably going to happen around 9:20, 9:30, maybe 10, around that ballpark. But, it's time to get into this Bleach chapter. 521. This one was like... It wasn't as shocking as last week's. This was a tone down. This was toned down a great deal. KUBO toned this down. He didn't... Like, the beginning, really, majority of it was slapstick. It was just fucking... just jokes and silliness. So, basically have Ichigo and Renji... They're falling in the air going, ah! You know. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm giving this a 3.5. And this was a good chapter, especially the end. And I already see it now. This chapter settles it. Each member of the Zero Squad created something. That basically means last week we saw Kirinji. And he created the hot spring that heals people. In this chapter, we find out about Hikifune and what she created. Now, what she created kind of, made sense when you think about the chapter. The chapter name was Piggy Party. It was a weird chapter. Be called that. But anyway, 521. Like I said, they're falling into the air, Ichigo and Renji, you know, and like you say, be my cushion, I was on my deathbed, you know, and that's when they get the idea of using Cone as a cushion. He turns into King Cone, like, ah! And then they use him to cushion the fall, and they get up, and they're like, and it was this one line. I have to mention this line. I know I go really low with these reviews, but I have to mention this line that was said. It was so goddamn funny. I don't know if it was Ichigo or Renji, but they said, I see how it is. Wham, bam, thank you, man. I was laughing my ass off when I saw that line. I mean, come on. That made me laugh. Wham, bam, thank you, man. That's just like, because you know you know, that's like a slogan to some extent. So anyway, they're fine. They're out of that. They fell, and they're not hurt. Cone's hurt, but they're not hurt. And they were discussing a little chatting here there about him going to hot springs, so on and so forth. And we just see out of the blue, here comes Hikifune, greetings, and then they push him. And then she's like saying, glad you made it here, Ichigo-chan and Renji-chan. Welcome to my Gaton Den. And Gaton Den it means Pig's Palace. So, now, the thing that surprised me about this chapter was the ending, but it was really what we found out about Hikifune. And I'm like, okay. I was surprised. I was definitely surprised. Now, the reason, like I said, the reason I'm giving this a 3.5 instead of a 4, there's a lot of jokes, there's a lot of fooling around in this chapter, so, you know, it tones it down to a bit. But still was a good chapter. Very good chapter of Bleach. So they meet up with him, and they say, why, my person's guess, why does everyone have to be so over the top in this place? And I just get the title page, it says, a Piggy Party. A Dance of Delicious. And basically what's happening here is she makes a buffet. It's like, all you can eat buffet. I was laughing at this chapter. Because you know what's so funny? There are characters in Shonen that always eat. Like Luffy, Naruto, Goku. Ichigo is branded from the Yusuke branch. You know, he's like, you know, the whole gist of that. So you don't really see him eat food. And here he was doing it. I was like, "Arr!" And I just found it hilarious. Unbelievably hilarious that was happening. So that's the story. Now, basically, like I said, she makes them all this food, so on and so forth. And pretty much that's what happens. And they're just saying, as his guests, and Ichigo and Cone, a lot of, just like I said, a lot of slapstick, a lot of funny moments between Ichigo and Cone, and Ichigo's telling Cone, there's no, there's a price to pay, don't say it's free, the food and everything. It was just really crazy. And then he says, do not fret, and she's basically telling her to eat up, have your fill. Have your fill, and that's pretty much what she says. Your job is to get filled up. And then she's like, say, you're probably famished right now. And then they're just basically eating. They're going to be eating, which was crazy. And she says, I'll be back. I'm going to make dessert. And I'm like, oh, God. It was so ridiculous. So she goes to make dessert. Meanwhile, they're eating. And Reggie's like, oh, this looks like crap, but it tastes great. I can't put into words. The texture is amazing as well. And I'm like, God damn it. And then we do have a serious moment between Ichigo and Renji. And Ichigo's like saying, should we really be doing this? Concerning what's been going on, what happened in the Soul Society? Should we really be stuffing our face like this while, everyone's preparing for the next invasion that's coming? And then basically Reggie calls him, and it's not even, I guess they did that because they don't want to use the word fuck. It says, you fucking retard. That's what he calls Ichigo. It's Fuggin. I guess fudging. It was weird the way they had put it there. But anyway, think about it. And and then Renji's basically telling him it's only natural that we went into the hot spring, we got healed. After we got healed and we're in the hot spring, we're going to be hungry. And that's what happened here. And that's what the whole gist he was telling Ichigo in that regard. And then we just have, and then we get the reveal. And Hikafune's there. We don't see her yet. It just says, Renji-chan says, that vice captain belt isn't just for show. And we see Hikifune. And she went from a fatty to looking like Rangiku. And I'm like, what? I was like, what the fuck is this? Looks like you know exactly where I'm coming from, she says. And it was like 6 pills of food. They're like unbelievable. And everything. And she's basically telling them that everything in the king's palace is done on a king's scale. And she says, I believe this is where she says it. She says, and then she's like saying that to nourish your bodies here so you don't die like dogs in the next palace. And then she says, oh, the dessert. She has the dessert. Who the hell are you? And she then begins to tell them, when she cooks, she uses up all her rosetsu, and that makes her look skinny. And in order to compensate for that, between meals, she stuffs her face like crazy. And then she gets fat, and then she cooks, and that's basically the whole gist of that situation. And then she says, and Ichigo-chan, be on guard, because, and she just goes into detail, saying all the members of the Zero Squad were people who once created something in Soul Society. And we've been acknowledged by the Spirit King as significant people who played a part in that history. My contribution was the artificial soul. So, in reality, she was, and it's funny, when I think about this. Because when you really think about Bleach, you thought Kisuke. You thought Kisuke was the one who did all these things. But you find out he only modified it to a certain degree. But the actual creator of it were members of the Zero Squad. That's what I'm noticing here. We had it with Kirinji, what he said about the hot spring, and now we have it with Hikifune. And Hikifune saying that she was the one who created the soul pill, the mod soul pill. And she goes in details with this, saying, you know, artificial soul and the means of inserting into a body. And she's saying that the Gigon was a foreign one. I built upon the idea of Gigon and created the Gigon Gon, the artificial soul pill. Yeah. And basically she's saying that the whole idea behind it is to take the Rosetsu from something other than yourself and inject it into a body and turning your power into your own. And she's saying that also in this scene that the food that you've eaten go according to that logic. Your body are now brimming with Rosetsu on a level you've never fathomed, pretty much. And then she's saying that my job here is done. And then she says, begins to go into detail, Hikifune says, proceed with caution. And she says, then in the next palace, you never know what he's going to do. Next is the Phoenix Palace's NIMAIYA OUETSU. I can't even say that. I just said it close, but not close enough. He is the man who gave birth to the Zanpakutō. And it says the next man will cut. And we see it's the guy with the afro. It's the afro guy. It's the afro guy with sunglasses. So he created the Zanpakutō. You see what's happening here. Now, I'm giving this 3.5 because a lot of it was, during the chapter, was slapstick. It wasn't, you know, I mean, I can't go around that. I can't give it a high rating because majority of the chapter was funny moments. And it wasn't, it was bullshit, basically needless bullshit that was going on between Ichigo, Renji, and Kon. And then the only things that were really notable to notice were the truth behind Hikifune and her fatness, slimness, and her abilities, what she created, and who they're going to fight, who we're going to see next. Those were the 3 things that were notable in this chapter. Now, like I said before, we're talking about people who created something. Kirinji, he created the hot springs. Hikifune, she created the mod soul. Now, NIMAIYA, KUBO is making these names really hard to pronounce. OUETSU, and his title is Phoenix. He created the Zanpakutō. Now, I can only imagine what the guy with the bald head and the beads, what he created, and the other one, the woman. I think the woman with the hands, I think she might have created something involving Mayuri or Kisuke. So, we'll have to see. But overall, this was a good chapter. My thoughts on it, it was pretty solid, aside from the funny parts. It was just the funny bullshit parts. Next week's I'm looking forward to the next chapter now, because each chapter so far, since Ichigo has gone into the King's Palace, into the Soul King Palace, has been, up there, has been a reveal. We got a reveal about Kirinji. We got a reveal about Hikifune. Now we're going to get a reveal about this guy who's the creator of the Zanpakutō. So it's really starting to move along. And I really like this. I like how KUBO is doing this. How he's going along with this. It's almost like he's putting pieces together for the Zero Squad, which is good. It's great. I mean, I would give this a 4, but the comedy stuff. Comedy stuff. That's the thing. But I'm still going to give it a 3.5. Good chapter of Bleach. I might do One Piece tonight, but it all depends on things. Because after this review, I got to do the fucking 12 Days of Anime. So, and the fucking live stream. So, there's that as well. But overall, good chapter of Bleach. Tell me what you guys think. Comments below. Creator of the Zanpakutō next week. Creator of the Mod Soul. And last week we had the creator of the Healing Hot Tub. So this is really good. I really like what KUBO is doing here. I really do. He's saying Zero Squad did this, which is good.
Alright, she went in early.
Okay. So that's all I got for you guys. I'll see you guys later.